For this portion of the exercise, we're going to animate the individual characters flying into their composition. Now, as they do this, they're also going to have some motion blur that really adds to the effect of the movement of the characters. So let's get started. Now, for this section, it's going to start at 16 seconds and run through 24 seconds. So make sure your work area starts and stops at those points. If you were to play this, we need to place markers wherever they're saying an individual word. Let me show you a quick and relatively easy way to do it, though it may take some practice. I'm going to select my audio layer and I'm going to press play. And as they're saying the words, I'm going to hold Control 8 every time a word is being said. As it's being played, it'll automatically add a marker. So to do this, it may take some practice and listening for the words, but it will make it go a lot quicker. So here's how it would go. I'm going to press play and then Control 8. So automatically I've got key markers set exactly where those words are because I placed them right as I heard them being said. Now I do see where I've placed more than enough markers here. For the word everyone, everyone is one word and I had it set to 3 syllables for this one. So at any time, if you need to, you can always delete individual markers that are not necessary. So now it has, if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew. Now I want to use my type tool to build out my composition. Again, we'll choose our type tool. Make sure you're set to the same font, and you can change up the alignment and size as needed. With each word on its own individual layer, now we can go and animate each individual word. Let's take this one layer at a time. I'm going to start off with the word and I've already got my marker set up for when they say the word and. So all I need to do is to place my playhead right when they say it, press the P key to open the position transformation, and let's add a keyframe there by clicking on the stopwatch. Now this is its ending position, so we're going to do Command and the left arrow about 3 or 4 frames beforehand, and let's move the word and off the screen. If you need to, you can either scroll down or zoom out to get it off there. Let's test it. There it goes, and so it very quickly comes onto frame. The other thing we want to do is, since it's moving so quickly, let's also turn on our motion blur. In your layers panel, this first little empty space will add motion blur to whatever you've got for that particular layer. So if we were to play it now, notice how it comes in and it adds a blurring effect inside of it as well. So that adds a lot to the motion of our design. Repeat this process for each individual word, simply closing out the previous one, selecting the next layer, pressing the P key, going to the next keyframe or marker that we have. We can add a position keyframe for its stopping point, back it up about 4 or 5 frames, and then move it off of the frame. And then we can turn on our motion blur. So now, and there it goes. Repeat this process for all of the words or the parts that you want to animate. With this done, we can go back now and test out our animation. If you see that there's any parts that need to be adjusted or tweaked individually, all you have to do now is go to that individual word and open up its position, and then select the keyframes and move it forward or backwards until it gets exactly to the point where you like. From now, we can select all of our new layers, our text layers, And as we've done before, let's pre-compose them. We're going to call this if you threw a party and say OK. This composition, I'm going to put it back on top since I've gotten out of order here. It needs to start at roughly 16 seconds. So let's pull it over here and have our start time set to be there. It needs to end roughly at 24 seconds. So we'll have it stop right about there. And then finally, we need to do some sort of transition to have it move away. I'm going to let this transition start at 23 seconds and 12 frames. And with the layer selected, this time let's do, I've already done a position, a scale, a position and a rotation. Let's do a scale transformation. So we'll start it here, go over about half a second to 24 seconds, and we're going to scale it down to have one of these positions. So I'm going to unlink them to be 0. This will automatically squash it all the way down together. So as it plays, and there we go. Let's go up to File, and we'll save this and continue on to the next part.